Well, hi there, everybody. Chase Raz from the Zilliqa Observer here, and I'm coming to you today with a package portal update for a couple of reasons. One is because I think a lot of you are just scratching your heads over the price right now and saying, what is going on? One port is currently $53 at the time of recording, about 299 Zil. That's quite impressive, but what's even more impressive is that we've been hovering at or above the $40 to $43 mark for over 24 hours now. So this doesn't seem to be any type of short-term situation. So I think the price of port has people scratching their heads, and I want to give you some insight and updates into what's happening there. But also, I do have some announcements directly from JG and Gabe and the team over at Package Portal that I want to announce to you today, having their blessing to do so. So here's what we want to do. Let's just settle in and get to it, and I'll get everything to you here as quickly as I can. First of all, when we're looking at Package Portal and we're thinking about the price, I want to bring up a couple of points with you here that I still think people are having a hard time internalizing, and that is that port is designed to go far and wide. It is designed to be distributed out to as many people as quickly as possible, especially within the Zilliqa ecosystem. So when you start thinking about this idea of, oh my goodness, so you mean I can order something off of, XYZ e-commerce store, have it shipped to me, and depending on what I bought, I may actually be better off financially for having made the order, having it shipped to me and scanned port, right? Unless you go and spend more than, at this very moment, 53 whatever the price is at the moment that you can redeem your port. That's based on when you scan it, when you receive it, all of that. Yeah, that's, I know it seems too good to be true, but I want to walk through the factors that make that price real, that make that price what it is, and can give you some insight in what that price is going to do over time. Look, I've talked to a couple of the whales in the space that are in port, that are in Zilliqa. You'll probably see price fluctuations in this over time as people make their moves, as some of the bigger players who have moved in. But I'm not right? I'm not the financial channel. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not overly worried about that right now because I'm in long-term. Most of the package portal whales I've been able to talk to are also in long-term. And because this is designed to go far and wide, when one whale makes their move, the community should generally recover fairly quickly. And we've seen that in the GZIL space and the ZWAP space. As they've made movements and adjustments, those tokens have done just fine and leveled out fairly well. So let me recap here, because there are actually two reasons why port is designed to go far and wide. The first one is to prevent whales coming in and completely owning it. And it's not the Zilliqa whales I'm talking about. These are very friendly folks who have the same interests that we want. Who I'm talking about are, let me put it this way, because Package Portal has a DAO-like structure and is using their business incorporation in Wyoming to get that crypto safe space in the United States. Having this forward-thinking port is a governance token, which I'll talk about in a moment, mindset. If I told you right now that there are only 10 million port, let's say magically, and they were all available, which they're not, and that was pegged to $1, I could find multiple businesses within 24 hours that would come in and buy the whole thing. That's straightforward, like no doubt in my mind. 10 million port, that's it. That's governance of this thing. So we can essentially have this whole startup for $10 million. It'd go quickly. Let me, if you know anything about the logistics space, I'm not pulling your leg on that. Like literally within today, as somebody who has no idea Package Portal, show them the idea, tell them it's $10 million, gone. And if you think I'm kidding, let me put an aside here for those of you who still think I may be full of it, because I am getting, some fun comments on Twitter. I know a guy who's in this space, in the logistics space, 3PL, last mile, same thing like JG's company. I don't know the financial performance of JG's company, and I don't claim to, his logistics company. But the guy I used to consult for has a 14-story building just outside of Tampa. And I don't mean his business does. I mean, he does. So we'll just leave it there. So yeah, $10 million to grab up all of this. For those of you who are thinking, man, it should really be $1. The redemptive value is $1. No, it can't be. It can't be. That would destroy this project very quickly. So again, those are the whales. That's part one of this two-part thing. The second one is to reward those of us in the Zilliqa community. Package Portal is a Zilliqa-based project. They know, just like the rest of us, that the Poly Network bridge is coming in Q2. They know that especially the Ethereum bridge part of this would have some of that bigger money, even outside of logistics, coming in very quickly to get the rewards of having this governance token. Port is a very limited token. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But again, Bitcoin whales, Ethereum whales, businesses within the logistics space, if you heard that you could have all of the port for 10, it's not all available. Again, I'll talk about that. But if you heard you could have it all for 10 mil, gone in a few hours, literally. So I think the other thing to be cognizant of, and let me give you a visual change here for a moment, is this price. Package Portal is not setting this price, this current 50-something dollar, and I don't want to get too focused on what it is and date this video. It's going to rise, it's going to fall, it's going to do both. It's going to have ups and downs. But they're not setting this price. The SoftPeg account that controlled Package Portal and set it at $1 for a long time expired a few weeks ago as more of the volume came in, as more of us started buying, as some of the bigger folks in the Zilliqa space started coming in and buying thousands or 10,000s at a time. I think we have a couple of instances of 10,000s. And so why is this price? Let me, in fact, put that on screen. Why is this price not being set by Package Portal? Or how can we confirm that? Well, the reason we're moving in, so many of us initially, was to get the 10% weekly rewards. These were always designed to be short-term, limited term, part of phase one of Package Portal, to say, in order to stake Package Portal, in order to stake Port, all you have to do is hold it in your wallet. They will go out, find who has it, without entering a staking contract, without anything. If you put your funds into a liquidity pool, they will, it took a while to get to that point, but they identify your port and you get 10% per week on what you hold. That's better, by the way, than anything ZilSwap can do, including with Zwap yield. That's better. And I've been running the numbers. I've been looking at the different pools. Package Portal, by a couple of percentage points per week, blows anything that ZilSwap can do away. But here's the thing. Package Portal couldn't predict Zwap at all. They couldn't predict it being a thing because ZilSwap, Switch.io, and Zilliqa didn't announce it too far ahead. But Package Portal built the 10% rewards to entice people to do exactly what we're doing, to buy and hold, and to buy and put in liquidity pools. So here comes Zwap. And here comes the improvement vote to add Zwap rewards to additional mid caps. And that's changing everything, because now you take that 10% weekly and then the slightly smaller combination of liquidity pool ROI plus Zwap rewards, and you have people really coming in and saying, look, for the next X number of months, we think about 2 to 3 months. We think about the 3-month time the staking rewards are going to expire. But about that time, this potential for weekly rewards is insane. Between 10% port, Zwap, and the fees that you earn from liquidity provisioning. But it does go even deeper than that. This idea, you keep hearing a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and it's this thing, it's this mantra, this hypnotic thing that lures you into no action. I'm not trying to get you to take action on port, but I want to explain it. It lures a lot of people into doing nothing and then regretting having done nothing. Now, when you see a price like this at 300 Zil, I have no idea what's going to happen to this price in the future, but here's what I know. Package Portal is not a one token entity. There will be Port, which there already is. There will be Export, which is the next token coming, and there are 10 million of those. In fact, let's take a look at this on screen here. There's Export coming, which there will be, I misspoke a minute ago, there will be 100 million of those. There are only 10 million Port. There will be 100 million Export. And as you can see right above me, there will be 10 billion Import. And so what's the difference between these tokens, right? Port has a redemptive value of $1, meaning it can never go below that floor. Package Portal will always accept it at a redemptive value of $1 for merchandise, for rewards, for whatever they're offering at the time. Plus, Port has governance. That's the key, governance. This is why they want it out far and wide. If the price spikes, so be it. Because in the future, I think people keep having this conflated idea that I'm going to go out and in the future I'm going to scan my package and I'm going to get port. That's only going to last for a certain period of time, and I've got some news for you on that in just a moment. That's only going to last for a certain period of time. After that, you're going to scan and you're going to get export instead. It has a $1 redemptive value, but it has no governance. That's what I think a lot of people are starting to think about when they think of port. They think, well, why should it be more than $1? They're probably thinking of export, which, by the way, will have reason to potentially float slightly north of $1 anyway. Still others are thinking of this import idea, which there will be 10 billion of them, and that's not even enough. This is why the port token comes into play. This is why it matters. This is why governance matters. Because when you think about the number of packages that are shipped a day, and you're doing yourself a disservice if you're thinking about port and you're only thinking about, the carriers that are bringing stuff last mile. What about all of the pallets that are scanned? What about all of the trucks coming in and out of warehouses? What about, and when you really start thinking about logistics and the potential and the idea that's been publicly made that there's a driver app potentially coming, that drivers will have a different interface, a package portal. I know it's a lot, but when you start putting all of these components of the logistics industry together, and that UPS or FedEx or DHL or any of the national carriers, and I'm talking of the nation-owned ones, in the UK, in the US, they couldn't create a product like this. It's the third-party companies that if you heard this was available for $10 million, would come in and scoop it up like this. When you start thinking in these terms, port is precious. And so, yeah, if distributing it far and wide means that somebody in a developing nation can order something and make their monthly salary by scanning a token, that is security for the protocol. The protocol being the smart contract in this case. That is security in a way for the business. And look, I don't want to advocate too much for that. Again, port is limited. It's only going to be mineable through scans for a certain period of time. But that 1 to, and let me go back and show you, that 1 to 1010 ratio is important, because for every one port, between export and import, for every one port, there will be 1010 others. That's the combination of export and import. 1 to 1010. This is a rare jewel in the logistics space long term. Now, one of the other protections that you really need to know about in order to understand port pricing and why it is where it is, let me draw some things on here right now. This is the phase 1 plan for package portal, which is port. This is a circle chart, a ring chart, if you will, of all of the port that's going to be in existence ever and where it was originally allocated. The areas that I've circled, or that I've put the yellow lines around, that's essentially what you and I are playing with today. The tokens for sale, the quote-unquote staking and LP rewards that are being distributed every week, and that pile, again, will eventually exhaust over the next few weeks and months. And then that large, let's play claw grab right there, that large dark blue. That's 70% of all port is locked in the scan contract. In fact, let me go over there. This right here. 70% of all port is locked in the scan contract. What does that mean? You have to pick up your phone, scan the package in order to receive a port. So you and I, if we're playing in the port pool right now, what's circled, that's approximately what we're playing with right now. The rest is either reserved for the company invested or is locked in the scan contract. We've, of course, touched some in the scan contract. In fact, more than I visualized. So let me get to that. And in order to do that, let's recap. So staking, the current, what we know as staking, of just hold port or hold it in an LP contract and get rewards, that's going to exhaust sometime in Q2. That amount will be depleted, just like the soft pegging amount was depleted. The question is, will port fall? Will port take a nosedive at that time? I can't predict the future more than anybody else. I do think a correction might happen. I'm extremely long-term on port, so that correction if it happens, wouldn't bother me, and I'd probably end up buying a lot more at that point. But that's a disclosure I don't know. May edit out, I may leave in. I don't know is the answer. No one knows. And let's talk about why no one knows, because the logic, the common sense seems to say, of course there's going to be a dip. And look, I lean that way as well. But here's where we go after the end of that staking ends in Q2. There will still be swap rewards for contributing to the liquidity pool for port. So that's not going away. That's a whole other beast, right? But the package portal white paper and their communications talk about this idea that after this staking, by the way, there may be something else in the future called staking. That's a more proper staking, where you take your port, you put it in a contract, and it earns some yield. There may be that in the future. I don't know. I don't 100% have confirmation. I've heard it floated out there a few times between investors in these utility tokens and between the team. I don't have anything official on that. That's not part of any announcement, but there's talk of it. What we do know is there will be what they're calling premium rewards for port holders. What these are, I have no idea, right? But we know that premium rewards for port holders are coming. I just don't know the form or the financial value or anything like that. Of course, Package Portal has to be careful because they're US based, and the SEC has a lot of sway, meaning gets to tell you what you can and can't do, period, full stop. But I'm really interested to see what these premium rewards are, whether they're ready at the end of Q2, whether they're ready sometime in the second half of 2021. I don't know, but that will factor in a lot as to what the price does at that time. Also, it used to be that Package Portal had planned for approximately 2 years to exhaust port. One of the announcements I can bring to you today is, according to the Package Portal team, that is no longer the case. At the current rate of growth, all port, including that 70% in the scan contract, because there's not 70% left anymore, right? We've already been scanning packages for months, but all port is set to be distributed now within 6 to 9 months from today. So we're talking the September to November timeframe in 2021. There will be no way to get port after that point except to buy it. And it's the governance token for this entire thing. Go back to some of the beginning of this video where I'm talking about companies would gladly come in and pay 10 million. Think what the multiplier is on top of that of what they'd pay to try to get a chunk of this. You know, frankly, if even a portion of the Package Portal vision comes true. So 6 to 9 months is a current projection that is subject to change again. Scans can slow down, they can speed up, but the current projection is 6 to 9 months and all port will be exhausted in people's hands. No way to get it except for buying it. But between the announcements and the speculations I made, I do want to get to more of a rapid fire of what are some of the additional announcements that we have. So let me just jump into them here. Auto crediting. This is something people are waiting for. If you've had a delay in receiving your port, I hear everybody on Twitter, I see everybody on Twitter as well saying, oh my God, this thing's a scam because you've been in Package Portal like a week, right? You haven't been scanning. You don't know that they pay out on time normally. And the influx of scans, it would cripple any company. It would cripple, let me just, right? I don't want to over defend Package Portal, but the idea that everybody expects that the spike in scans wasn't going to slow things down when they were already moving from a manual redemption process to automatic. That was already planned for right now. They were going through it, and the increase in scans happened at the best, worst, I don't know, time, because you can't, like, that's a wonderful thing to have happen, but the timing was tough, that they were switching over to using a machine learning model for their scan validation. Auto crediting will be live by the end of this week. That's the information I have for you right now. So no more filling out that form, right? Maybe you have to fill out the form if you're not credited, but the machine learning will be able to determine if a scan is valid, send it forward to redemption, and that redemption will be automatically credited every single day. And I believe that the staking falls into this as well, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's talk for a moment about those scans, because machine learning is now in place with the automatic distribution of port tokens. Stop scanning barcodes, right? Look, I know that some workarounds to package portal and earning port were found. I know that some of those were being rewarded. You're thinking, I scanned a bottle of Coke. I scanned a jar of nuts. I scanned, a package at the grocery store, and I got a port. I'm publicly saying that now, having known it was going on, because I want to tell you now is the time to stop. You're not going to be credited for it anymore. There were even a few folks who intentionally were sending information through. Package portal was to some degree aware, and it wasn't being blocked temporarily because the bad data. I saw this on Twitter too. People asking, like, shouldn't they be asking us for bad data, right? We need better samples for validation. I couldn't say anything at the time, but it was already happening, right? There were already some scans going through, getting rewarded for sending bad data, so that the machine learning model, being coached by the humans on the team, could detect what is what. Plus, there are additional sources of information that now come into Package Portal's backend to be able to discern what's what. So if you were trying to scam the system and scanning barcodes before, or if you were part of the group of folks who just knew this worked and were trying to intentionally give bad data as a positive, now's the time to stop. No more bad data unless somebody asks you, right? Like you're not going to be credited for port doing that. I don't know if there will be account suspension coming. I would imagine at some point. Right now, it's just you're not going to get your port, but I would imagine, now's the time to stop. Also, another big announcement here, don't delay in scanning anymore. There's this trend where some people say, well, I'm just going to, order on Amazon, for instance, and I'm going to choose my Amazon day and have all these packages delivered, and then I'll just scan them throughout the week. You're going to want to wean yourself out of that habit, because there are, and I'm taking a look here, bear with me. I'm taking a look at the information I have off screen. There are multiple services that are being integrated in with Package Portal right now. Yep, multiple services, and they're going to be able to verify the tracking numbers and give a time frame. So you're going to have no more than 72 hours to scan a package. There's probably some wiggle room at the beginning. I don't have that from the team. This is my commentary. There's probably some wiggle room if you have a few packages you want to get in. My suggestion is get them in now. But again, I would imagine by the end of this week or so, you're going to have 72 hours from the time of delivery to scan this package. And if not, it will not be eligible for port. So I don't want anybody to be surprised when you go out, you fill the form saying, hey, I didn't get my port, where is it? And you get an answer back that says, yeah, but you waited 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, a week to scan your package. It's not eligible for port at that time. And remember why. We're talking 6 to 9 months. All port are going to be mined. We're talking about the expiration of the initial staking, the 10% weekly, within a couple of weeks, couple of months here, or I should say a couple of months here. So no more barcode scanning to dupe the system or intentionally to give them bad data for machine learning purposes, and no more delays on your scanning. Those are two big takeaways you absolutely want to know about here. And the final thing is, and I think this is really exciting, I didn't intentionally leave this for last, but here it is. If you don't have packages to scan, that's okay. You are going to have a way to interact with Package Portal going forward sometime soon. There are going to be new in-app features. And let's take a look at what these in-app features are. What I know right now is that the feature is being described as a new fun feature. So I'm imagining some type of gamified system. Maybe my mind keeps going to something like a CAPTCHA, but a little more fun. And you'll see why my mind keeps going there in a moment, but something in-app that is rewarding in multiple ways. Now, there are a couple of reasons that Package Portal wants you coming into the app every single day and is willing to reward it with what I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be rewarded in port, fractional port, if export's going to be rolled out soon. I don't know those details yet, but the feature that's coming that's going to gamify the app a little bit is to throttle bad scans. So when I said no barcodes, when I said no delays, we're not only going to have the machine learning tools on the Package Portal backend, but also integrated APIs, and now also community verification. So really, no more barcodes, no more delays, because that's 3 walls of security to prevent you from doing this. The reward timeline for people who interact, with the app seems to be daily. So there will be new tasks daily or new rewards daily, or however that manifests. I'm not 100% sure, but this is really, really good for adoption in emerging markets, especially because if you're somewhere where you're not going to be ordering packages every single day and you're still wanting to get some fractional ownership of the utility side of Package Portal, right? You can't go buy the company. But if you want fractional ownership of these utility tokens, these governance tokens for an entity that is openly evolving into a more DAO-like structure, this is a great way to get it. If your finances prevent you from making e-commerce orders, if your location prevents you from making e-commerce orders, and I think this is a truly democratizing factor. What's the incentive here? Because the whole idea is to say, look, when we look at the Package Portal price, when we look at Port, it's so easy to say Port is overpriced. It's current. Oh, okay. While recording, we just jumped. Another whale moved in. I'll have to look at this. We'll see what happens over time. It was 50 at the time of recording. We're at 73.46 at this very moment of recording. Look, by the time you watch this, it could be down at 40. Who knows? I want to hopefully help explain why this is happening. Why it's mind-boggling to some people to say, no way. I can buy a $10 book on Amazon. I can order from another bookstore. I can support my local bookstore and have them ship it to me instead of going and picking it up. I can, right? And there are some concerns here. There are environmental concerns, et cetera, et cetera. But Port is going to be expired, meaning mined through. It'll still be valid. But it'll all be mined through in 6 to 9 months at the current rate. And I only see these prices accelerating that, quite frankly. Even if they fall by half. Even if they fall by more. To make sense of it, you have to understand the larger picture, that this is a governance token of something that if I told you you could have for $10 million and you had the resources, it would be a no-brainer. I mean, even from a venture capital point of view, if you're in venture capital and you're used to handing out 5, 10, 15, 20, $25 million checks to the smaller projects and the chance of them being a potential unicorn, we have a real-world use case. We have real-world adoption. And here, this final point, daily active users. Bringing more daily active users into the Package Portal application as we move into issuing export, as we then move into issuing import, which is really where Port is going to become important. You cannot run this entire thing on only 10 billion tokens and change. The scan volume in this world is insane. And Package Portal hasn't even gone B2B yet. Let me say that again. Scan volume is insane, and Package Portal hasn't even gone B2B yet. So am I super bullish about this in terms of price? Would I tell you jump in at 400 ZIL? I'm not that financial guy. I'm not. I'm not the YouTuber who sits here and says, here's a hot crypto token you need to jump on and you're going to 1000x. And that's not me. I look at the business fundamentals of a project. And I align that almost like you'd get in stock tips. Is the P&E in line, right? What are the company's earnings? What are their earning potentials in the future? Is that priced into the price or not? Because crypto functions as pseudo ownership of utility, pseudo liquidity, pseudo commodity, right? All of those things I've talked about in previous videos. Some people taking profit here. You see the price coming back down a little bit. Because of all of that, you really have to get a good sense of what's going on. The whales I've spoken to in Port relative to the Port size, right? Because again, the point is to avoid massive whales throwing off the governance. Of the larger Port holder body that I've spoken to, they're mid to long term. There are very few, there are very few that are short term right now and indicating anything that, we're going to bail after the 2-month period or the whatever month period when the staking contract is expired. Look, anybody can go back on that. They can change their mind. They can change their plan at any moment. That's to be expected. However, I hope this helps give some clarity as to what's happening with Port, why it's not absolutely insane when you see $25, $40, $50, $70, whatever. When you see these prices, it's not absolutely insane. Are they locked in stone? No. No investment ever is. Not of utility tokens, not of stocks, not of real estate, not of anything. But the logic outlaid in this video, combined with the new features and the new announcements, which is again the accelerated timeline for the exhaustion of port distribution, where all of it is mined, the new in-app features, the fact that more and more large purchasers are coming in at higher and higher prices, I hope this helps make sense of the landscape and what's going on. Because again, let me be clear, I know that a lot of you are sitting there scratching your heads going, what is going on? What's going on? This is what's going on. I hope it helps. This is not financial advice. I have no idea whether you should get in or not right now. I am, as a full disclosure, I am a port holder. There you go. Take it for what it's worth. If you have questions, comments below. Let me or the community answer any questions you may have. Take care, everybody.